Sha Hayes, today's host, and I would like to welcome you to another episode of Let's Talk Film, a film review series by women, for women, allowing our contemporary voices to be heard on all types of film releases. We will be reviewing the intriguing documentary, Free Angela Davis and All Political Prisoners, written and directed by Shola Lynch. We are shooting here at the Atlantic Chipshop, which is known for providing an authentic British fish and chips experience. It is located here on Atlantic Avenue between Henry and Clinton Streets in Brooklyn Heights, a prominent neighborhood known for its picturesque row houses and mansions, as well as its famous promenade, which offers incredible views of the Brooklyn Bridge and Lower Manhattan. And the Atlantic Chip Shop is equally recognized for having the best fish and chips in New York City by both Time Out New York and The Village Voice. Let's keep calm and carry on inside. So now we're here inside with Christopher, the owner of Atlantic's Chip Shop. Christopher, let me ask you about this amazing place that's right here in the Brooklyn Heights area. What made you think about coming to the Brooklyn area to bring this English restaurant here?
Well, I've been here for 23 years, and it seemed the obvious choice. The second stop every time I ever went to England was the fish and chip shop, the first stop being the pub. And so I figured, we've got a fish and chip shop, we've got a pub, all in one. There you go.
That's right in the heart of the great Brooklyn Heights. And you also have another location.
Yep.
Tell me about that one.
Another location, which is the first location, which is in Park Slope, which is more family friendly.
Okay.
We don't have the full bar, there's no full liquor, lots of wheelchair access. You can reach us at www.chipshopnyc.com. The menu's there. And you can tell us if you have any ideas of weird and wonderful things that you would like us to try to fry.
Wonderful, good.
You can say, hey, Chris, fry this.
Fry this, okay.
And I'm not guaranteeing I'll fry it, but if it's a good idea, yeah, of course I will.
We can get a suggestion box of things we want to fry.
Yep.
So tell me about the menu. Is a traditional English. You have your bangers and mash and your shepherd's pies, and you're also known for your fish and chips. So tell me about the types of fish that you have in your menu.
We use sustainable cod, sustainable haddock. We use fresh fish. Potatoes, the chips start life as a potato, amazingly enough, not as a pre-formulated, powdered, refried, reformulated French fry.
So you get some good stuff here.
So it's a real McCoy home cooking. You know, I'm a chef by trade.
Oh, wow.
I've been doing it for 20, 30.
You're telling your age here.
Too many years.
So do you still cook now, or are you kind of still in the front of the house mostly?
I do the specials.
Okay.
Still, and I still make a lot of stuff, and I still govern the kitchen with an iron fist.
And you have a full-service bar here, and I particularly saw that you have on the menu a Big Mother Cuppa. So that must be the next thing I have to try before I leave here.
Well, the Big Mother Cuppa is a 30-ounce cup of tea.
Oh, wow.
And a good friend of mine said, you should have a cup of tea, call it a Big Mother Cuppa, because it's a Big Mother Cuppa. And it really is. You can come to the chip shop, and you can ask for a pint of beer, and it's a real hand-pulled pint of beer from a separate box, which is served at 55 degrees. And this is what you'd get in England, and it's all very, very controlled.
You're getting the true, authentic stuff here.
Yeah, it may not be to everybody's taste, but it's not, funnily enough, an honest ale.
It's an honest ale.
I like to have at least 10 British beers on draft.
And so there is a happy hour you offer?
We do a happy hour at the bar from 4 till 7, and it's 20% off.
Okay.
And you get to talk to our lovely staff as well.
And this is Monday through Friday, or
Monday through Friday, I think.
Monday through Friday, okay.
And any soccer game we have that we show live here, we serve 20-ounce pints of either Radeberger or this rather small Carlsberg tap we have here, one or the other, as a promotion.
Amazing.
And we show all the live sports, all the live soccer, the live rugby, the live cricket. If you're from the islands, come down, you can see England lose against West Indies, which is usually the case.
So this is a home away from home, or a new experience for a lot of people too as well?
Well, it's a real local for a lot of people. A lot of Brits come here and use it as a local pub, which is the community. You know, it's a centre of British community in this part of Brooklyn.
And the menu's very family friendly, so it definitely is. So I would encourage everyone to come out, and if you're family wants to come out and enjoy a true English restaurant, this is a place to come in Brooklyn.
Yeah, but you know, you're not just fish and chips. We're not just fried food. We do a lot of shepherd's pies, a lot of salads. We do a lot of stuff which is not what people would assume British food is, but it is all absolutely authentic. I refuse to, with the exception of the fried Twinkie, which is just a bad experiment gone very well. Yeah, I suppose it's the best way to put it. I refuse to compromise.
You're going to let me take a ride out in the Chipshop car.
You're all right. Yeah, I'm going to take the fishing tackle out, but yeah.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
No
Thank you. It's a pleasure meeting you. Thank you.
Meet you too.
And let's meet our panelists. And to my left, I have Lauren Hard.
Hello. Good to see you.
Lauren is a freelance reporter and host. Her work is currently being seen as a part of Martini Productions in New York City, as well as Hudson County Television. Lauren was recently accepted in the Columbia School of Journalism. And we also have joining us today, Theresa Anderson.
Hello.
Theresa Anderson is a consultant working with organizations and individuals, and she focuses on women and youth at risk. Today we'll be discussing Free Angela Davis and All Political Prisoners, written and directed by Shola Lynch. Well, the film Free Angela Davis and All His Political Prisoners, how did you feel the film humanized Angela Davis at that time in the film?
Given the background of her family history and all of the things that she did, and how she took the process of studying and educating herself about revolutionary aspects, I think that gave a particular human feel to it. You didn't feel disconnected from her. You felt like you really understood her and what she was about and what she was trying to do. Some of the statements made by students of hers, people who knew her, I think that added to the human context of her.
It definitely did. It made it kind of softened her as a person, whereas if you only heard the story isolated from having all of those, not opinions of her, but that feedback from her family as well as her students, you wouldn't have seen, the whole picture, and you could have had a completely different impression.
Many critics of the film have accused the filmmaker of not forcing Ms. Davis to address difficult and critical aspects in the retelling of the events, therefore devaluing the merits of the documentary. Do you agree with this?
I guess they could go in more, but that might have made her recoil back and not given any kind of information.
Well, and I think the director, from my perspective, also wanted to capture a certain event in her life. It wasn't about other aspects. She wanted to capture that period during the time when she had to flee from the FBI and, the government's part in trying to, basically make her a martyr and make her something out to be what she wasn't. So I think part of that, from my perspective, is what the director probably wanted to create for that period.
There was a lot that came out of that. You don't get to see and understand her impact and her influence. And I think it's very important for us to see that. I think it's people to have an understanding of the historical context of the framework that took place, the actors who were portrayed in that. I mean, Nixon, Reagan, COINTELPRO, that changed the course of how we're policed, what our civil liberties are. They were challenged, and I think she was an important part of how we viewed that and how we need to fight for that.
Right. Well, does this documentary offer contrary points of view to the events?
Yeah, it does. I would say that they went in well with Reagan and Nixon being in there, and that's like a opposing viewpoint that was presented.
At the part when they released the tapes of Nixon, I think that part, played a very, very, crucial part of when they, showed his point of view and how he, again, was out for her or what his beliefs was at the time. So I think those type of things were very crucial at the time when they were showing those different depictions of what was actually going on around her, not just about being her story too as well. So
like all the outside influences that were happening, not just that, she was on the top 10 most wanted list, but actually how the political leaders at the time thought of her.
Right. And how she became such an important I guess a political conversation at the time, and you would think, here this woman who is just taking a stance for her beliefs becomes such, a high topic on a high level on the FBI's wanted watch list because of her stance and belief system. So, you kind of believe that people's views at that time would have not been challenged to that level, but that's where the government was, where they felt like they needed to attack what they consider as domestic terrorism. So.
Right, and I think that stems from that adds to, during that time, the war on communism that was taking place. And so being branded as a communist, you were automatically a terrorist. And Hoover, the three actors, Hoover, Reagan, and Nixon, had tremendous, that was their whole agenda. You have a communist person in our country, they're obviously a terrorist.
Yeah, and you just want to instill fear
exactly,
within people
exactly.
about anything that is remotely related to communism.
Because it attacks capitalism, right?
Right.
Would you consider this film to be a feminist documentary?
Well, I guess it could be portrayed as that because it does focus on a woman like that, but I didn't really think it was like a, an isolating feminist movie where it's like, yeah, women, that's it. And
right. Well, and to me, to ask the question of feminists, because her stance was never specifically about women. It was always about, the government and, and having socioeconomic developments within communities. So to me, it's because when it's a woman involved, it's about whether, a woman's stance is just about women's issues. No, it was a woman who stood for her beliefs and liberties for people and her beliefs. So that's the reason why.
She went with like the communist mentality of representing for all people.
Right.
So it wouldn't have been just women if you took that, ethos.
So would you consider this a political documentary then?
She was such a political figure that I think you would have to categorize it that way.
I think it's a strong political film. I really do. I think there are certain aspects of feminism in it, but I think more than anything, it is a political documentary, and I think it shows the impact and influence of how one strong individual really ignited people's thoughts and feelings about what was taking place politically in this country and even around the world.
Well, how did you overall feel about the film? Did you feel like you liked it? Was it, something that you feel like would you go see again or refer others to see?
Yeah, I liked it. Just trying to think if I would see it again. Maybe not tomorrow, but I would watch it again.
I liked it, and I would see it again. And I don't necessarily know if I would have to be in the theater, but I would love to see it again.
Well, which goes into my next question about your thoughts about the film's visual style and the visual effects of everything. How did you feel like that played throughout? Because I know for even with the stock footage, I'm always someone who looks at that and the way she was able to incorporate that throughout the film, I really was invested in it throughout. Although I knew the historical outcome of Miss Davis' trial, I felt like waiting on the edge of my seat because there was still so much of build-up because of the way the film was played out through the stock footage in the films. I was just so shocked of how much of that aspect of the film that they were able to get, have that within the film. So how did you feel like that played out?
But then some things they inserted too, like when she was walking, you could see her silhouette.
Yes.
And that kind of, helps tell the full story and makes it less flat.
Yes, I love that.
I was impressed. I thought to myself, wow. To have all of that, I think she did such a great job at gathering and compiling the research and everything that she needed to really build that film during that time in history and all through the transition of what took place. I thought she did an excellent job. It was most impressive.
So what do you think were some of the weaknesses and strengths of the film?
I guess a weakness would be that they didn't explore how people that were categorized as communists were treated at that time.
I agree.
And then if you might have just been categorized as a communist, even if you didn't have an association with the party.
It was so frightening.
I mean, the means and the tactics that were used to suppress that. I think the strength is, I think what we've sort of said all along is just how she was able to put all that historical footage together. I think the interviews, the fact that a lot of the people are still alive and can actually, put things into a greater context for you. The fact that she's still alive and she's relevant.
Yeah, I think that's that's really important, especially if you're a younger student. Because I feel like when you have these lessons in school, you have no perception of time, and you just think that all these terrible things happened a long time ago, and it's over now, and it's better. And just to have current interviews with these people that are still alive, I think is really important to kind of give a time frame.
Yeah, I was impressive that most of her defense team was still alive and just being able to get real accurate accounts from them. So it wasn't just someone reading or someone actually telling telling you what happened versus the actual persons who were there to tell you what actually happened in that moment. What were your thoughts on the marketing campaign for this film? Did you find it to be effective?
I don't know if I've really been exposed to the marketing campaign, to be totally honest. And then actually in Times Square when I went to see it, it was like all the way up in the sky basically in that theater, probably the smallest theater that they have. And yeah, as far as the marketing campaign, I think it's hidden.
And I'm surprised that I don't see even social media being utilized for it, because I mean, I didn't even, I know even when you look at Twitter and you see the trending aspects of stuff, I don't see anything that kind of allows to people who are now using social media as marketing to have this movie being utilized for that.
I learned about the film through word of mouth, and I think the marketing can be done much better. I think it should be much broader, but I also think that there are also smaller markets where people would see this particular film, and I think the smaller markets probably are more representative of how this film would actually have more impact and influence, and really bringing her into those particular markets, I think would be much more influential and impactful.
But I haven't seen anything, not even like an ad on a bus stop.
Right.
Nothing.
Well, in most films like this, they have smaller budgets, and so that kind of aspect of marketing is limited.
Right.
So I think it's really important that, this type of movies that are out, that we need to go out and be the kind of the spokespersons for them. Well, we have run out of time, but I would like to thank you for your thoughts and your comments.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure having you here today.
It's good being here.
Yes. I would also like to thank Christopher for allowing us to shoot here at the Atlantic Chipshop. Today we're discussing Free Angela Davis and All Political Prisoners, written and directed by Shola Lynch. Be sure and check this out and more on your website online at letstalkfilm.com, which is also available on your mobile devices. I'm your host today, Sha Hayes, and until next time, keep watching and keep talking film.